Welcome to fall. Nice, beautiful gray weather. Time of year when leaves start turning from green, getting splotches of brown, to reds and yellows, until they fall off the trees. What happens during the fall, if you're a tree, is the sap starts leaving the fruit, the leaves, starts migrating down the limbs and down the trunk into the roots deep into the ground. So there's this downward flow of energy. The west is often depicted as the direction of fall energy because the sun sets in that direction. On a daily cycle, the sun setting is similar to the seasonal cycle of fall. Now during the fall, the weather gets moist and cool. And our lungs themselves are moist, cool organs. And because of that, there's a redundancy. You add moisture to moisture and you get a lot more moisture. You get coolness to coolness and you get more coolness. So what happens, the bottom line is people are susceptible to respiratory illnesses during the fall. There's a lot of them. So what do we do about this? There's different approaches. I know herbalists who add cooking sage to their tea and drink that during the fall. Why? Because cooking sage is drying, so it helps dry out the lungs some. I know people who will do qigong exercises, and that's what I teach, how to use qigong exercises to strengthen the lungs, to help prevent yourself from getting ill, or once you get ill, how do you get over it quicker. Along with AccuTouch and AccuTapping, tapping the meridians, tracing the meridians. These are all techniques we can use to help keep our health up. So we're going to start out with the AccuTouch and the AccuTapping and move on to Qigong. Alright, so here we go. So the lung meridian starts, you have your chest and your shoulder, there's a crease between them, a hollow. That's where the lung meridian starts. And it flips up and goes down the inside. This is the outside of your arm, this is the inside. So it goes down the inside of the arm towards the top, the thumb side. So it goes like this on both sides. Starts in the hollow, comes up, runs down the inside, top of the arm to the thumb. That's very useful to know. And then it ties in with the large intestine meridian that runs up the outside top of the arm and ends right up here. So the lung draws in oxygen, the large intestine evacuates in a downward motion. So there's this downward action with the lungs and the large intestines, not unlike what's happening to the energy during the fall in the trees and in the sap and with sunset. Energy is waning. So in order to strengthen these flows to help prevent getting ill, one can trace the meridian, just trace it down to the thumb and do it with intent. My mind is where my hand is. Qi goes where the mind goes. They prove this with biofeedback. They can have someone focus on the palm of their hand long enough and it'll warm up the hand. Well, you focus where your hand goes and the Qi will follow. So that's one method. You could add tapping. Tap this point here and then go down to the crease here, just in front, tap here. Right before the crease on the thumb, tap there. Trace down the thumb, and then at the back edge of the thumb, squeeze. And we do this the other side. At the joints, or near the joints, are really powerful acupoints. So here's a cavity between this joint and your chest. So that's the beginning of the lung meridian. Tap there. Trace down to the elbow crease and tap in the crease and just past it, down to just back of the wrist crease near the thumb, and tap that. Use 3 fingers, and then tap or brush down the thumb, and then towards the back of the thumb, press the thumbnail, that is. Okay, now that's one way of doing that. You can do the reverse for the large intestine. Press here, press here, press on the back side, or the front, that is, here, and then people will either press here or here for the large intestine. Okay, we're going to be primarily focused on the lungs because that's the yin of those 2 organs. The lungs yin, the large intestines yang. The yin organs are more important for keeping balance. It'll keep the yang ones in balance. So how else can we do this? If you are sick, if you're ill, or if you just want to prevent it, you could be doing some of these techniques while you're watching TV, or just sitting on the bus, or during a commute. And one way of doing it is find the thumb side of your wrist, and just behind it, place your hands right over that whole area. Okay, now you've just covered a very powerful point for the lungs. And with the free hand, put it across in this crease and just hold. And you can hold it as long as you want, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. If you're holding it long enough, both places where you're touching here and up here will start to pulsate to the same rhythm. If you're feeling one pulsating and the other one not, or they're pulsating at different rhythms, you don't have a flow going yet. But when both points are pulsating at the same rhythm, then you know you have a flow of chi running down your lung meridian. And you can do that on the other side. Thumb, put your hand over the back, and then right here. I've used this a lot when I'm ill. I don't have any energy for doing anything but lay down and be sick. You can hold these points. It's passive. You might visualize smiling chi coming from the heavens down and bathing you and going through your head and down your shoulders and out your arms to your hands. You can visualize drawing up earth chi and doing the same thing, from the earth up to your body, down your shoulders, down your arms to your hands. And that way you're channeling external energy into your body. And smile. And those are all good techniques using technology, either tracing the meridians, tapping points along the meridians, or just holding points on the meridian. If you hold the thumb in here, then you're holding the first point and the last point on that meridian. I prefer this as a very powerful point here, lung 7. Alright, use these techniques, try them out, see how they work, and be well.